All right, we have some breaking news coming your way from Major League Baseball, where the Boston Red Sox are acquiring left-handed pitcher Garrett Crochet from the White Sox. That is the very latest from our MLB insider, Jim Bowden. Now, Jim also adding that the deal is pending a physical approval from the commissioner's office. So if we get a look at some of those trade details, you can see, again, Garrett Crochet going to the Red Sox. The White Sox receiving some position players, also getting Kyle Teal, Braden Montgomery in that trade as well. But ultimately, Garrett Crochet is heading to Boston. And let's bring in our MLB insider, former World Series champ with the Boston Red Sox, Will Middlebrooks. Will, you're very familiar with this organization. And when it comes to Garrett Crochet, this is somebody who, for a long time, even back to the summer, prior to that, we thought he was going to be traded. It felt like, okay, why is nothing coming to fruition for him? Ultimately, he is going to Boston. What do you make of the move? And I know you were saying it felt like this was a good fit for quite some time.
Yeah, it was. I think the White Sox were thinking, look, we're on to what this guy's doing as a starting pitcher, because you got to realize he got into the league in 2020. 2020 and 2021, he was a reliever. 2022, he missed, or 2022, he was a reliever again, missed the season 2023 with injury. And then he gets here in 2024, and all of a sudden he's a starter, makes 32 starts. He strikes out, 209 batters over 146 innings, which is absolutely elite. And they're thinking, okay, we got something in our hands here, and he's making league minimum. Let's hold on to him, let him pad these stats a little bit more, and maybe we can get more as far as prospect capital goes in the offseason. And boy, they were right. I mean, they got some really good prospects from the Red Sox. And to your point, Jacqueline, the Red Sox were always at the top of the list as a match for this trade, because the White Sox came out and they publicly said, we're looking for prospects that are position players. We have a lot of pitchers in our system. We need to build our position player capital. That's exactly what they did here. They picked up one pitcher from the Red Sox, 3 position players, Kyle Till being the number 4 prospect, number 1 catching prospect in the system, who had a chance to make the big league club this year out of spring training. So they're getting some really good players in return, but the Boston Red Sox are getting a guy with ace potential. You just got to see if he can continue this, because like I said, last year was his first time as a starting pitcher. Yeah, 4th in the AL in strikeouts. We saw that graphic right there. So, well, if we're just projecting ahead for the Red Sox and we look at their rotation overall, what are your expectations? I know you said that the fit overall with the team makes sense, but if you're looking at the projected starting rotation, how are you feeling about this based off of what we're seeing right now looking ahead to next season? I feel good about it. I don't feel great about it, just because of how good the AL East is. Now, Tanner Houck was really good. He was an all-star last year. He was phenomenal. He got tired. He hit an innings limit, and it really wasn't great the last month and a half of the season. Lucas Giolito coming off elbow surgery. He'll be a great addition. They added him last spring training, but 2 weeks into camp, he got hurt. Brian Bayo is one of these guys they've been comparing to Pedro Martinez for a long time. They should not have done that to that kid, as young as he was. But the talent is there, and he has all the ability to be. He was opening day starter last year for the Red Sox, and then Cutter Crawford is just an inning eater. Don't be surprised to see the Red Sox go out and get another starter, a Walker Buehler, a Jack Flaherty type. I don't know if Corbin Burnes is on the table. You saw what the Max Fried deal was yesterday at the $218 million to the Yankees. Everyone was thinking initially that was going to be 5-6 years, 160, maybe 170. Got to 218. So what's Burnes going to cost? About 30, 32 a year. So I don't know if the Red Sox are in on that, but I would expect them to go get another arm. Yeah, I was going to say, well, do you think, you can see Corbin Burnes being in that rotation? If not, what does it mean for him, especially when you're considering the money and like that Max Fried deal that you just talked about, which was a whole lot of money for a pitcher that does get hurt a lot. We were just talking about that. Corbin Burnes, what does this mean just for him personally, whether it's with the Red Sox or not? Because he's also a huge name that we've been discussing over the past couple of days in terms of free agents that are still on the chopping block, I should say. So like Fried, Corbin Burnes, this is going to be his 30-year-old season. He turned 30 in October. So a 7-8 year deal isn't off the table, especially after Fried, with his injury history, as you just mentioned, signed an 8-year deal, which I thought was absurd and overextending themselves. But the Yankees wanted to just pay him for his prime, get those next 4 to 5 years out of him, and then, hey, we'll deal with it when that gets here, right? It's the New York Yankees. They'll just ship you off and eat the money because that's what they do. But Corbin Burnes is a workhorse. I mean, he tends to go out there and give you 30 starts a year. Now, I don't want to call them red flags within his metrics. The velocity's been down. The swing and miss has been down. He's been throwing his cutter more, which a lot of guys do when they lose velocity, but he's still generating a ton of weak contact, and he's still one of the best pitchers in baseball. So no one will ever complain about having to pay a guy like that $30 million. I would love to say the Red Sox are in on him. I'm not sold that they are.
I said the word chopping block, and that was completely not what I should have said. I meant to say like big board for Corbin Burns. He is not on the, not on the chopping block. I apologize, Corbin Burns. Will, I want to talk about just the Red Sox fan base, because this is a good point that you brought up, is that they've been itching for some sort of big splash in free agency. Is this Garrett Crochet move enough to kind of quench that thirst, if you will, for the Boston Red Sox fan base? No. I know you know it well.
Quench the thirst? No. Give them a drink out of the water fountain? Sure, right? Give them something. They were really... Look, Juan Soto wasn't on their radar to start the offseason, but when rumors start coming out that the Boston Red Sox are in on Juan Soto, all of a sudden they expect to get Juan Soto. And they were up, I think they finished third in that. Ended up, I think, just over $700 million with their last offer. So the money's there. Obviously, that would be spread over 15, 16 years. So it's a little different, but it's still $50, $60 million a year. So you start looking at this fan base, which you brought up, and they're rabid. And it's great because it's for a fan base that didn't win anything for 86 years. They win a World Series in 2004. They win in 2007. At that point, they're thinking, we need to win every single year, which just isn't realistic. But then they win 13. They win in 18. And ever since 18, it's kind of been, I don't want to call it a rebuild, but a retool, because Boston doesn't have rebuilds. They don't really have bridge years. You're not allowed to there. So you still have to be competitive. But it's been tough there because there hasn't been the big signings. There haven't been the aces, the big names that normally get brought into this, what was a big market team. They want to treat this like a big market team. The fan base wants to feel like they're going after it to win. And this is the first step. There's definitely more pieces to be had. Still the Alex Bregmans. You're looking for a big right-handed bat. And like I said, I think one more starting pitcher to really get this fan base going.
Hey, maybe Corbin Burns does end up there, and they find the money, and that will be enough for the fan base. Who knows? My fingers are crossed for Red Sox fans.
You guys better call me as soon as that happens. I'm going to be partying.
Okay, we will definitely Zoom or Skype in from the Middlebrooks household party if Corbin Burns ends up heading to Boston. Well, we certainly appreciate it joining us here on HQ. We're following that big news out of Major League Baseball, where the Red Sox are trading for Garrett Crochet. And getting a look at the odds to win the World Series, the Red Sox 25-1, along with the Twins. Of course, we have the Dodgers, Braves, the Yankees, and the Mets. The Mets were like third right after they signed Juan Soto, and now they've somehow slipped again behind the Yankees at 8-1. But still, the Dodgers, they are the favorites at plus 370.